Yo, back up now and give room, brother. The fuse is lit. I'm about to go boom. Mercy, mercy, mercy me. My life's a cage, but I'm on stage and I'm free. Hyped and psyched up and ready for the wild and stand in the crowd of girls like an island. I see the one, I come to sick. Here comes the cutie, flip him around as we work that booty. And we're about to get in that ass today here at AEW Light the Fuse with El Sexico, sexy on his back. And he's bound for November. It's down for November. MSG. And hey, Sue, get at me, girl. You were looking good up there. Flip them birds, put them in the air. It's AEW Light the Fuse. Yalla. Yeah, man, I'm feeling it. I don't think I'm in the zone.
What an arousing intro.
was that all right, man?
You are. You're in some kind of zone. Yeah, man, I love it.
Good, dude. Hopefully we can keep Sil on. You're doing a little roboto here.
Back in the saddle, man. But take it away, MSG, while I fix my technical difficulties.
Oh, no worries, my man. We understand. Ladies and gentlemen, there's hurricanes and storms obviously in the coastal area. So Silvio is definitely working against the technical issues right now. But I am, of course, your host of the most who lives on the Northwest Coast for now, Matthew Schaffer. As I head off to Denver next Monday, and I'll be there Tuesday, and then I'll begin my the following week, my new position out there. But I'm just rocking and rolling here. We're ready to light this fuse. Got a couple stories. Topic, I teased it on yesterday's Impact Attack. I got the scoop on Miro's clothing choices. I sat through his YouTube videos for you. So I'm ready. I'm ready to rock and roll here. So, ladies and gentlemen, we also have, as you mentioned, the sexy Mr. Silvio there. Can we hear you? At least see if that helped by turning the camera off, Sil?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hopefully you can hear the luscious sounds of my voice.
Yeah, you sound a lot clearer, man.
All right, good. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck's going on in Florida. We got hurricanes, we got Miros, we got weddings to crash. But I did come up.
So we're getting killed still right now.
I wanted to run by the Light the Fuse t-shirt on Pro Wrestling Tees. I'm gonna call into this bitch with myself.
I was gonna say, why don't you switch to Selly, bro? I think we're fucked when it comes to Spectrum on that. Hopefully we can get a little bit clearer signal. You
got it. I'm out of here.
All right, yellow. He'll be back. It's Chris Silvio, as sexy as ever, man. It's not good looking guys usually aren't as good at tech. They got to be pretty all the time. So it's guys like us. The guys that look like us got to fucking toe the line for these baby faces.
I look pretty fucking good too. Like if I get a 6-pack, then I would just look just like Silvio.
Take the hat off, and you're gonna have a tough day. I'm telling you that right now.
Hey, I'm going through the weird hair phase right now. Okay. The hair's growing out. I cut it. I'm going through the weird hair.
Oh, got him. You tried to go over. You don't go over on me, kid. I'll call the spot to you. Don't worry.
I'm still a dapper looking fellow. That being said,
I am up today though. Last night, I've been up since Wednesday, man. Actually Tuesday night, having a good time with the Impact watch along. Went right from that to the Wednesday locker room. Always awesome to get to do stuff with Strangler Steve and Billy Ray Valentine, and definitely get some chops in on Bello, one of my favorite targets to whip upon. But Wednesday locker room, an awesome show in the middle of the week that carries us through. So it was good to be there, show them some love. Always get those shout outs at Old Bitter Steve, send him some gifts and send him some titty gifts, even better. He likes that. So, and then last in the morning, we did the Impact Attack. Big Ray, we welcome back Big Ray, the original host when we went from WrestleZone over to Hamin Media Group, and had a good time there. Long show, but good Impact this week. And then last night, Architects and Engineers founder for 9/11 Truth, Richard Gage, joining the Conspiracy Horsemen in one of our flagship shows. And then up again this morning for the Thursday recording of your Friday locker room with Big Stevie Cool to talk about Braun Strowman controversy with Hamin Media, and then a quick call into Russo brand, and just pulled an hour with Disco Inferno and Russo to talk all about that and more. Some very hot, heavy shoot topic there with the rare Hamin and Disco on the same side. Heels, they want us to fight. Russo's like, nah, you guys are booked together. You're fucking going in there and you got to get your fucking heat, you heels. And we did. So that's going to be a hot, I'm not sure if it's Lions, Tigers, Bears, and Disco or what show was actually for his new show maybe. But man, it was a good hour talk. So
I think I wonder if they make it on the Patreon, if he's gonna put it on his little disco.
I'm not sure yet. We'll put it out there.
I hope not. I want to listen to it.
Yeah. You hear me, dude? I can't hear you.
Technical difficulties, ladies and gentlemen. Live.
He looks better though. I mean, he looks.
He does. He looks sexy there.
Can't hear you. You got it on Bluetooth or something?
No, he was jacked in for a second there. I saw the AirPods. He was going right in.
He says, "Wrap it up, B." But yeah, for the quick rundown on Light the Fuse of the Braun Strowman controversy, something that shouldn't even needed to happen. I was about to do my Stevie Richards fitness workout, and I looked down at the phone to mark out for social media one more time, and Scott Ward at Hey It's Me _Scott quotes a video from the Friday locker room 5 days beforehand. Quote, "You're a fucking idiot and embarrassment," end quote. Then tags at Ben Hamin at Braun Strowman. "I couldn't agree more. As a fan, I couldn't give a shit less about you guys." Or excuse me, 1 second. "As a fan, I could give a shit less about your character. If they bury you, I'm cool with that. It's deserved. Hashtag exposed. Hashtag buried yourself. Hashtag Friday locker room at Hamin Media Group." And Braun sells for it. "Cool story, bro. Who are you guys again? Oh, that's right. Nobody's. LOL. Nobody's wrong." He did it with plural possessive apostrophe S. "Go make another video crying about wrestlers that you don't like that no one watches. Hashtag dork." Well, apparently you watched that video 4 or 5 days before that. It got in your ass enough that this guy, Scott, and usually, you know, when trolls are going to troll, stars will look at him and be like, "Good luck with 340 followers. I don't care." Scott's got 12,400, and he's an avid listener of Russo brand and Hamin Media Group. And the fact is, isn't even in the video thread, shows that Braun's had a hair up his ass about the truth of misusing social media, my rant on last Friday's locker room. And here he is doing exactly what I'm saying the problem is in the most poetic way possible. So I just hit him back with a show don't tell of the pictures of him in his Wonder Woman costume, Pussycat Dolls, Elf, and most recently dancing at the Red Core boardroom in a bikini while they clap at him like a thunder down from under stripper. So that's correct.
Well, just to jump in here, you know, there's a couple ways to look at his statement too, right? It's very meta. Like, he doesn't even realize what he's saying. You're making videos about wrestlers that no one's watching. So by that argument himself, he's saying nobody is watching him, right? Mr. Hamin, you and everybody else are making videos about him.
He's talking about video, yeah, about wrestlers that no one's watching. Yeah,
Meta.
I double entendre in that when I read it too.
So, I mean, there's that. There's also the fact which we were talking before we went live. Nobody came to Braun Strowman's defense, really, online. Nobody has, like, clapped back for him. He doesn't. Where's his fans?
Hamin. It was all Hamin.
Where's his fans?
And it was a snitch tag. It's not like I set him up to put his head in the bear trap. He came in, put it in there, and closed it. I was like, well, okay, thanks for the fucking shine, dude. Maybe you know, he'll take some of the advice, because it's sure it comes across harsh as fuck when I say it, but it's because I want this business truly protected. And this guy's a 1 in a million property who could be referred to as David and Goliath levels in future mythology, like Andre the Giant will be. But it's more important to do these types of stupid things on social media for a vanity metric and blow the investment that WWE's made in you. And then to come at me off of that snitch tag, you obviously did some homework, but not enough to know who I roll with or what is the possibilities of what could happen in the future. And just instead of shutting the fuck up and being a superstar that Braun Strowman should be across the planet, he's now selling for fans online. And
bravo to the Hamin Media Group, man. You guys just jumped in, clapped back. We're ready. You guys were ready to hit. So dude. Bravo, Army. Bravo, Army.
There was no signal sent up. They just all went.
They just did it.
Are you kidding me, bro? So that's where we are with that. There's going to be a big shoot with me and Disco Inferno on Russo brand, and there's a big bit of it on the Friday locker room as well with Stevie and I. So good times, great oldies, man. That's where we're at on a crazy Wednesday afternoon before I talk to the top architect and engineer in 9/11 Truth. That's how much of a fucking nobody I am, bro.
No. Well, let's see if we can finally hear that sultry voice of his. Mr. Silvio, are you there, sir?
Do you think we'll be able to get Strowman versus Hamin on Raw Underground?
Well, the answer is yes, because I got tweeted. And there's still I can hear myself in the background. I'm not sure if I'm on the computer too or not, but just a little bit afterwards. But there's two guys there at Raw Underground who look just like me as well, who are my body doubles. So I wouldn't doubt if these guys, after Strowman goes over on Baba Mata or whatever that guy's name is, Damo Babo or whoever it is, that those guys feed in and he kills them both just as a fuck you to me. But it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, my beard, sponsored by @CanYouHandleBar, beardoil.com, is far superior to his. He can try and steal my style, pretends that he wants to clap big guns and all that kind of shit. I'm the real deal, man. So I'll just lift all the weights in case I gotta fucking be ready to go. I'm not scared. I'll do whatever I have to, man.
Ya Allah.
I might even show up in a goddamn elf costume just to whip his ass. But
no, man, that would be worth the ticket price right there. Elf versus elf.
But it's crazy the madness we get locked into out of nowhere. So it's me _ Scott, lighting the fucking fuse and doing the demo. He's our head engineer this week. We got to say, the bravest motherfucker there is out there with the snitch tag, strapped the C4 to your door, no beef, no more. And that's how we do it in Hamin Media Group, man. Because
the one that really popped me was the guy who actually took the picture with Braun Strowman.
Yeah.
Mike Payne
tag and buried him.
Like, bro,
dude,
yeah, he came hard. That was crazy. Anyway, go check out our Twitter timeline. It's all there, guys, on Hamin Media Group, and you can be part of the conversation. Another conversation that was had on YouTube to segue into All Elite Wrestling, guys. I got the details for you, your boy. I've been sitting through all the weird and wacky things of online media from Cuties, the Cuties review, which is available on Hamin Media Group, podbean.com. I got the scoop on Miro and why he looked and appeared for his ring gear as well as hair. So this was Miro's words after the debut himself. He, which I guess you can find on his YouTube to be Miro, or it's Miro or something. He said that he initially went out looking for high-end clothes in the Los Angeles area, that he was looking to kind of come back with a different style of look. And he figured if it was going to be he was going to be paired up with Kip Sabian, he felt like he wanted to look a little bit more fancier, like he would blend in with that crowd. So the idea was to get some high-end luxury type, casual clothes, jeans, jacket, what the rich people, fancy people were wearing. Well, apparently nobody of the designers made anything in his size there. So like all the stores he went to, he couldn't find anything in XL or 2XL, which tells you where the heck was he shopping at first off. So eventually he had a friend, an announcer, I guess, who lives out in the Florida area, who was able to find him some 2XL clothes. So that's the clothes he wore that were available in Florida at his size. So he didn't necessarily really investigate them. He went on to say that during his process, whenever he's going to have a major event, he realizes this is probably not the smartest way to do it. But for him, it works well. He doesn't put the pressure on himself. He doesn't think about things because he doesn't want to get in his own head. So he didn't calculate his entrance as far as on a week-to-week basis. It was more sporadic at last minute. And then he dyed his hair because he said he liked it. He just had been messing with the hair color and wanted to dye his hair for that reason. And as far as why he's paired up with Kip Sabian, he thought it was a good idea because, who better to be part of Wedding Angle than this guy? The guy who has been in multiple wedding angles on and off television. So there you go, guys. That was his reasoning. He couldn't find clothes in LA, so he had someone else, I guess, pick them out for him and pick them up because he didn't necessarily want to put the pressure on himself to properly re-debut himself on a federation promotion. Did you want to start, Silvio, or do we let the cap off a bin? Okay.
Now it all makes perfect sense. I live here in Florida, and that outfit screams Florida. So it makes perfect sense to me that was acquired somewhere in this damn state. That's crazy, though. Like, why couldn't he just put on a suit? Like, he wants to be fancy. I'm sure he owns dozens of suits. Why not a suit or a vest and some, like, I feel like there's a lot more options than the Gucci pajamas. Nothing against Miro. He seems like a good guy, but fuck, man, that's kind of an odd excuse.
Yeah, I mean, the process before we let Ben go, again, he was more or less, he says that he doesn't like to put pressure on himself, which, I mean, you're in a high pressure situation. You should be built for that at this point. But he didn't want to put pressure on himself on a mind wise because he gets in his own head and then he feels like he creates self-doubt and whatnot. So, all right, Mr. Hamin, go ahead.
These fucking fragile man children, dude. I've had enough of whatever your little effeminate excuses for pajamas and you couldn't find, that's such a work and stupid ass excuse. You get one chance to make a first impression, you blew it. You come out looking like Eminem 2008, dressed in his mom's pajamas at 8 Mile. I don't care if they cost you $3,000 or whatever. That shit's not cute. You obviously don't care that you're supposed to be a badass Russian mall or Sambo guy, or that you got out of a wedding angle and that you'd even be allowed to be put back in another shit wedding angle as the way to kick things off as a rib. You really are one of those people who looks in the camera and goes, I love this business. And then every action you take goes against that completely in protecting yourself, caring about the fans, caring about the impression of your legacy and what it's going to be. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to really have to have this level getting the jobs and the opportunities, and then this is what they do with them. It turns my stomach, to be honest with you. From if they want to be influencers on TikTok and be a reality show couple, go be that. But no longer will I invest any of my suspension of disbelief, hope that you're going to do something, because all I look at you now is someone who's uninspired, clocking a paycheck, and looks like they're owed something. In this business, you think you're over. You ain't over.
Well, he also noted that
I don't give a shit what he noted. It's all fucking bullshit.
Well, I was just going to say that I don't
want to talk about this stupid shit anymore.
All right,
you know what this reminds me of, boys? Do you remember when the Montreal incident happened and Brett left to WCW? On Nitro the following Monday, they did some cheesy thing with the 37 NWO members waving little Canadian flags. And then Brett's big debut, he was a guest referee in a weird match instead of wrestling, where they tried to recreate the screw job.
In the back of on the fucking limo, that was a weird thing.
Mm-hmm. And his purpose was to do a screw job kind of recreation of Montreal, like on a smaller scale. It's almost like they're doing the same thing here with Miro.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know, man. I think sometimes
say the words.
I think it's just haphazard. I don't think they were well prepared for this. I don't know. What do you think?
What did you just lay out? You just laid out what?
A WCW angle.
And who was in charge?
TNT.
Who is now? Who is secretly working for TNT as an advisor?
Bischoff.
You think he's not going back to his shitty old well of tricks, and this isn't the exact same thing?
I don't know, man. I certainly hope not.
I didn't think about it till you pointed it out, but this is the exact proof positive that would be. Is that a hard fucking situation to imagine? We saw him come in, do that, and then he's quietly nowhere. Where he's not on TV, he's not advising, he's not talking about AEW. Why? Because he's getting paid by TNT on the kayfabe to be an advisor. And what you just laid out is brilliant, because I didn't even think about that, but that's exactly what is going on right here.
And the reason why I say that, man, is I've been watching the last few weeks and I've kept it quiet, but I'm seeing a lot of parallels to WCW, both the positives and some of the negatives. Same theory, I think, is as to why maybe we had the top guys coming in and getting beat up, or like, the thing where Brody got beaten on his way in, Hardy didn't have the greatest debut. What my theory on this is, they're trying not to recreate those mistakes of WCW by having the NWO and Luger stay on top and not building new stars. So I think part of their mind is saying, if we bring these established guys in and let them win, we're going to end up WCW.
What was the big story this week across the whole AEW show, buddy?
Big story this week.
Okay, that went in at a lot of segments. Everybody's joining a clique. Everybody's joining a
I
group.
noticed that.
So there's your NWO shit, dude. Like Bischoff is going to be right now on this show. Light the fuse. It's exposed. I'll call it blind, bro. Let's put some money down if you need to. Of that's what's going on. I saw another story that we did on the locker room where Jericho is putting over Kahn and a bunch of stuff that seemed very worked as well. That means Jericho knows and he's in on it, and it's running cover story for Bischoff to be the big brother now at TNT, and he's giving Kahn these storylines to play out. I'm almost 100% sure of it after what you laid out there.
Yeah, it could be, man. And I'm rereading the book Sex, Lies, and Headlock, the real story of Vince McMahon. And it kind of got me thinking even more on that rabbit hole, because it mentions in detail a lot about the Monday Night War. So you're right, man. I do see a lot of similarities, and it could be Bischoff related. I will say this, last night, the pacing of the show was as good as I've seen it in a long time, and it had a fantastic flow from curtain to curtain. Ooh. So hopefully it is going, at least on television, it's going to continue in this direction. So if they screw up with silliness,
I got to poke back at you, not for me, but for Russo. Not that I disagree with you or agree with him, but the numbers the week before, we got back over 1 million, right? When we weren't on here together. So thanks for covering, by the way. And that's a big thing. That show where they got over 1 million had 45 minutes of wrestling on it, and the rest of it was all character and all story. And then he even at that scrum puts over, we got to listen to our fan base, and they want more wrestling. We got to get more wrestling. This show, end-to-end wrestling with very little storytelling, matches way too long that blew the believability and pecking order of where people are on the card completely, just to get wrestling in there and listen to these marks. Wrestling, everyone's got to pull 17 minutes. Well, when somebody pulls 3 minutes, it means something. And then the stories were not well driven this week at all, except for the payoff in the main event. And, will the rating show over 1 million? Or are we going to be back down to 700,000-800,000 again because of wrestling? He had the roadmap given to him last week. More character, more story, less wrestling, quicker matches equals over 1 million. Now this week, blinders on, back to wrestling. No moves mean anything. And if we're under 1 million, they had the blueprint and they're not using it of which way they need to go. They can't read the roadmap. That simple.
It's definitely valid points, man. I got to reclaim my position on the other side of the fence on this one, though.
Sure. That's what Russo just explained on the show. I did with him that way. Like He tweeted to Kahn saying, "Bro, you've got the fucking method now. Hour and 15 and 45, right? Like, okay, let's play within those parameters and do our stuff." No, back to dumb, deaf, and blind. And if the numbers show it, then where are we? Sorry, go ahead.
The way I look at it, man, is like this week, the quality of the show was far more consistent to last week that did that bigger number. So I feel like if they consistently put out a good product that their loyal fans will want to watch and then tell a friend to watch, they can maintain a core audience and slowly grow it. I think, maybe making some of the mistakes, I guess I'll say, they did in the last 2 weeks, I think in the long run, continuing to do those things would hurt more than just putting out a solid product that looks and works good. I really enjoyed last night's show. I feel like you have to have characters and we have to develop them and have angles. But what I saw last night was like night and day difference to the last 2 weeks. And I'm digging that direction. I personally think that's better for the long haul while they stay consistent in trying to come up with creative angles to build these guys.
Sorry, I'm just getting a big Stooge report, and I heard half of what you said. I know it's all valid, but it's just some high level shit that affects my life. So I can't. Who's the? Oh, it's from Russo.
Gotcha. Okay, no worries, guys. So let's move on. I want a topic I want to bring up here. It's non-wrestling related before we get into AEW full breakdown. So I happened to watch the Netflix movie that everyone's been watching the last couple of days, The Social Dilemma. So now that this movie and this frame and ideas and context are finally now coming to light. For those of you who have not watched the movie, it is a documentary. It's about 90 minutes. They sit down and speak with former CEOs, presidents, vice presidents of the companies, marketing, sales, engineering of Silicon Valley, Google, Pinterest, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, those type of discussions, if you will. And after speaking with these individuals, the main takeaway from this film was that they are utilizing us as the product to sell for advertising, right? So as the amount of time you spend on watching a video or clicking an ad, the impressions, the engagement, that is all conglomerated and sourced and sold. So social media is no longer a tool anymore. It's now a full-blown, I guess you might say, data harvesting, Silvio. While Ben steps away here, have you heard or seen anything about this movie?
Yeah, man. So I've kind of been researching or dipping my toe in that pool since the thing about the Russian conspiracy with the election came about, and the Facebook, what's his name, Zuckerberg in front of Congress. And I did watch that movie. So a lot of people may have noticed that follow me on social media. I haven't been active. I'm actually doing a social media cleanse and just kind of restructuring how I do things. And that movie brought up a lot of valid points, like just the way that they show their intent is to keep you on that device, keep you on that site for as long as possible. Something as simple, if I look up a Light the Fuse video on YouTube, it's then going to give me all these recommendations that are designed to keep me clicking and clicking and clicking. And by somebody that works in a public setting, social media has been part of my work for the last few years. So I really sat back and thought, okay, like how much time and energy have I put into this? How much time have I wasted watching bullshit videos or trying to find a story? So pretty much I've disconnected completely. It's not going to be for the long haul because I got to do business, but I disconnected completely for about a week right now. And I feel a lot better than I did prior to that. And I'm even sitting in now on a roundtable group for humane technology just to educate myself more on this and hopefully affect some law changes, because it's a vicious cycle, man. Like they have no regard for what's happening in the world right now. It's all about the bottom line. And the movie points out they're pitting everyone against each other. And what do you see on Facebook right now? Nothing but political arguments,
Division.
Arguments against protests, division. And Facebook is at the helm of it. And it's kind of sad in a way.
Yeah, no, I agree. In fact, I mean, I've had these thoughts on a week-to-week basis. I try to take weekly breaks where I don't use social media, whatnot, for a couple of days. Obviously, I'm in a more production style situation, so I do need to interact with certain people and post for specific shows. So it definitely I'm more conscious of trying not to be on social media, or even if I am, I try to just look up like positive things more or less versus actual negativity and arguing, okay, if I'm going to spend my time, then I might as well find something that's going to make me laugh or smile, or something that's going to challenge my thinking. And maybe then I can research that further. Like, I don't mind going down like those type of rabbit holes where you get off the video site, right? And then you hit the Google machine and you hit different search engines, right? And you're looking up certain things. Like those are, I feel like at times can be very, can be good itself for as far as gaining knowledge and trying to understand people. But that's also why I've set up my social media the way I've set it up. Like my social media is pretty much compromised from people from all aspects. Like if I invited people to some sort of watch party that was something egregious or nefarious or that triggered people, there would probably be tons of people arguing back and forth, which is why I try not to, gaslight that on my page or whatnot. You know what I mean? Because I don't want that. But I do have my own, regular opinions, and I try to be as positive as I can. And who you see online is who I am. So, I mean, I'm pretty much as genuine as I can be, but that unfortunately is not the case with everybody online, especially when Facebook is, as the movie points out, manipulating people now into a point where we have this new generation they grew up on the internet. Me and you, we were out hanging out with our friends outside, skateboarding, going and doing bullshit when we were kids, and now these kids are just looking at their phones all day or getting manipulated into the psychosis that they need to be a celebrity, right? So it's crazy where we're at, man. Like I mean, that's that one guy at the end of the movie, and he was like, I don't know who was one of the senators. He was like, I'm 62 and I'm probably going to be dead. And this scares the shit out of me. I was like, me too, bro. And I'm only 32.
Right. The common theme throughout the movie was that the human brain has not evolved yet to be able to handle that much stimulation, where all of this is available at the touch of a button, quite literally, where we've yet to evolve to where our brains and emotions can process that. So that's where the problem comes in. But let me ask you, Maddie, do you feel like the general population in America is addicted to their smartphone?
Oh, 100%. 100%. Like I'm addicted to it. It's hard to not use it, need it in times of when you're boring. Like it's become so ingrained within our day-to-day lives and everything that we do. You mentioned the ease of access. When you're out on the go or you're not near your regular computer. Like when I'm at home, I don't use my cell phone too much. I'm just going to use the internet. I'll just use my computer. But when I'm out and about, for sure, 100%. Like if I got to pull something up, boom, 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 boom. So I think that connection or the way we all rely on internet itself is definitely the fabric of our society now at this point, right? I mean, if the internet goes down or if there was a firestorm to happen and everybody lost all their money and all their digital currency, man, this place would light up. The fuse would be lit.
For sure, man. Like once I kind of took a step back and
You're breaking up there, Silvio.
And looked at everything, in a broader scope, I realized like I spent a fair amount of time on social media, but I wasn't like on it all day. However, I noticed that my phone was always engaged. Like I either had a podcast playing, music playing, a YouTube video. So throughout the majority of my day, I had some kind of stimulation coming from this device. And I started realizing about me, much like other people, that the smartphone almost becomes like a comfort device. When you're feeling anxious, when you're feeling bored, or whatever, that phone's kind of like a blanket. If you're nervous out in public, you'll just check your phone or click some bullshit app. So I kind of realized, shit, I'm kind of using this like a crutch in a sense. So I've stepped back, and like the first couple of days, I put my phone in like another room, and I could feel like mental and physical like withdrawal type symptoms. Then when I would grab the phone to do something like to respond to a text, I'd instinctively looked for a social media app, which I've deleted off my phone. And I caught myself doing it. I'm like, holy shit, my brain had been wired to just rely on this phone.
Yeah, the wiring. As they point out in the movie, that got the author right of what the book was, 12 or 10 ways you should delete all of your social media accounts or whatnot. And I was like, he mentions it's the simplest terms, of course, is the manipulation of the mind, but the more expanded upon knowledge is that it's the gradual over time manipulation of the mind.
Right.
So it's over time, it's gradually slightly rewiring your brain to get you to a point that becomes you an addict, that you become an addict itself, which at that point, your presence itself, you, the product that engages with the social media activity, and then that engagement, if you will, you itself, your eyes are sold to an advertiser. And you know, it's crazy. Well, you guys,
learning about that just pissed me off to an extent too, because it's like, I'm not going to allow these dicks to control me or try to push me around. Like, you know, fuck these guys. So fans, don't fret. You know, I still have my social media accounts active. I'll still be dropping in posts and saying what's up to you guys, but I've deleted everything off my smartphone. So a few times a week, I'll get on the computer and do some posting and engage with everyone, but I'm not going to keep it in my pocket anymore.
Yeah, and, you know, to that notion as well, I'm deleting my Facebook. I'm deactivating it at the end of this month. I will have my Twitter still, so Messenger, obviously, so that I can message people. But I'm pretty much getting ready to cut down on as much as I can as well. I'm kind of over the brainwashing, if you will, the division, the fighting. There's a lot of arguing online. And it's as my friend Corey actually told me a couple years ago. He goes, "Dude, social media is a energy vampire. You know what I mean? Like it just sucks you out, sucks the energy away." So let's move on.
Question for you, Maddie,
go ahead.
quick.
Go ahead. Sure.
One last question. So I've heard a lot of people saying similar things about Facebook. Like, I hate it. I want to get off it. And there's a lot of talk about people starting a new platform that's more positive, not as polarizing. And I actually know somebody who's developing a site and sent me the information. If we do get a new site that's less Facebooky, is it going to do any good, or is it just going to be the same thing, just from a different source?
I think the intention is going to be there, but ultimately for the survival of the business itself, if it becomes popular, it's going to have to monetize it in some way. So that's what it really always comes down to, is the money, the profit of it. You know what I mean? So there really is no way around it, as they even point out in the movie, right? They're like, we can't close the lid, so we have to figure out a way to regulate it. So, I mean, if your friend's got a great idea for the regulation, and he's got a good, you know, business model in which he believes he doesn't have to, you know, either you charge the users. I mean, because that's why the internet is free now, right? Once we stop paying for AOL and Netscape and whatever the different discs you had in the early 90s for $9.99 a month, once we stopped paying for that, then the ads came. Right. So are people going to be willing to pay for that privacy again? That's a one way to regulate it, because at that point, if you're paying for it on a monthly basis, then that you can make your, you know, residual income to keep the site up afloat without having to charge the users or mine their data.
Sure. I agree. That's the way to go.
I liked it when that old bastard got his Young Bucks action figures and he was crying and shit. That was good.
Braun?
No, you did see that with the old man, the grandpa?
Oh yeah, the video.
This grandkids got their grandfather. He's a real older fella, probably close to 80, I gotta believe. They got him the Young Bucks action figures for his birthday. He watches every week, and like, you thought it was like going to be a rib thing, but he really is a huge wrestling Mark Bucks. And this old 80-year-old man's like, "Oh, Grandpa, don't cry." He goes, "Too late." He was so happy to get his fucking Young Bucks AEW figures, man. It was a good little piece of business, you know, whatever. The wrestling touched the hearts of everybody of every generation.
That's great.
Yeah, man.
Well, let's get into some AEW Light the Fuse news here, guys. Let's start off with, as you mentioned last week, broadcast of AEW did a big number for them, or at least one of their bigger numbers, 1.016 million viewers. That was up from 928,000 from September 2nd and 813,000 from August 27th. And 755,000 on August 22nd as well. So they have been rising over the last month. Their YouTube numbers were up as well. This week they had 4,682,108 total views. That was up from the previous weeks of 2.8 million. The most viewed video at 1,464,000 views was Miro's debut. Holy Miro, it's the best. Holy Miro is the best man. The least viewed was what did Ricky Starks have to say about Darby Allin, which only got 64,000 views. Total average viewership for all 10-15 videos was 190,000. So that being said, that is your
halfway through the fucking show by now. Jesus Christ.
No, we were talking about that social dilemma stuff, man. We got really into that. Silvio.
All right, I'm sure it's good audio, man. That's fine instead of rap.
Great audio, sexy audio.
Great. Yeah, better than talking wrestling. Like that. So this week's Dynamite Supersize is what the tagline was on the dirt sheets. But we started off with FTR taking on Jurassic Express. Now I guess storyline coming from last week was that if Jurassic Express beats FTR based on their celebration, that they will get an opportunity for the championship in the future or at the next pay-per-view. However, the tag team champions kept the pace pretty steadily in this match, using some mat wrestling techniques, keeping their opponent on the defense. Luchasaurus missed a dive into the crowd at one point, and this allowed FTR to pick up Jungle Boy and get the win by their move very well. Good match. What did you think of this match, Silvio?
I thought it was a great performance by FTR. Harwood was particularly great in this match. Wheeler was great as well. They were both fired up, but Harwood really, really impressed me. Their timing, you can see in this match, was so well done and expert that they were always exactly where they needed to be. They both seemed to be extra fired up. I don't know if they gotten some critiques online or something, but they came out with the point to prove that they were the fucking shit. And I thought they really did live up to the hype. The only downside of this match is because FTR was so on point and their timing was so good, I feel like, unfortunately, we really exposed Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy to a lesser extent. If you watch during this match, a lot of times FTR is ready to go into whatever's happening, and Luchasaurus is kind of awkwardly waiting. That kind of told me he doesn't quite grasp timing as well, or maybe he's not used to the pace of these guys. Jungle Boy was similar, but they were easy to cover that by having him do spectacular things. And, Jungle Boy's, he's just growing up in the business. So I feel like he gets a pass in a lot of those regards. But I thought FTR did a phenomenal job. Just kind of exposed, that Luchasaurus is as great of a gimmick is and how much potential he has. He needs to be in the ring with guys like them that can push into the next level as a performer.
So before you jump in, Ben, I just want to know, I missed the first 3 or 4 minutes. I also have written down here that I guess the Young Bucks came out and they attacked the ref, and I guess that was more of this heel turn. I didn't get to see it, but I did write that down.
Kicked them, and everyone's like, what the fuck? All the other refs, Aubrey does a big, and then they walk backstage, and Tony Khan is sitting there in a fanny pack and some shirt, and they throw $5,000 cash in his, he's like, look at me, I'm a gorilla. And then they walk away. They walk by the Revival, who say something snide with Tully. They laugh at him, hit the music, and they leave out. Now we have Evil Young Bucks. Just like that, the heel turn is complete. Great.
They kicked Marvez last week, right? I mean, in the face.
Yep. Unfortunately, I screamed about it for 15 minutes last week.
Yeah, he did. He didn't like that because there's no pay.
Dino Gimmick and Jungle Boy versus FTR.
Yep.
FTR should have beat him in about 5 minutes because they're the tag team champions, tag team specialists, not a gimmick, not a comedy act or anything like that. And they pulled 20 minutes with them and went 50-50, and now everybody looks stupid. Some great wrestling spots in here. Guess what? Spots doesn't matter when you got a dinosaur mask on. Like, it's about being a dinosaur. It's about being Jungle Boy and about getting a couple things in. But these guys are your top tier champions. They shouldn't be going 50-50 with a comedy gimmick just because they want to see wrestling on a show. This should have been a quick get over match to show how technically sound wrestling is more important than character. However, character does sell. Nobody got over in this. Both teams could have got over in it.
Yeah, I think FTR got over in this, man. I was impressed. They got over with me, at least.
It didn't. They would have got over if they won super quick, and Jungle Boy and Dino Gimmick had done 2 or 3 character spots that they got over on them on the first one. Second one gets shut down. Third time they go for a different one, and FTR is just too quick, too nasty, and gets rid of the big man, hit it on the little guy, and we're going home. Right. Anything past 5 minutes on this exposes FTR as not great wrestlers. Just another group. Their timing is too good. Their timing and strikes and everything are too good to not have them win in a quick way.
All right.
Yeah,
well,
I definitely see your point, man.
You get
so after
that's and the other thing is Jungle Boy. I gotta say, tip my hat to him. He's better and better. But I'll tell you what, I think Jungle Boy's had more in-ring time than anybody on the AEW roster in the last year. I bet if you were to calculate the minutes.
Yeah, he might.
Yep. That was something I just wanted to put over.
It's probably why he's probably looking the best, right?
He's improving and all that kind of stuff. I was actually thinking not to split him off, but JR had made a comment, and this is a little side thing that I think could work, kind of a middle school thing that these man children love, and it would be all right to do this. A reverse sexual thing as well, that they could get away with. So if you want Jungle Boy to become an even bigger star, he said they said something about his hair. The girls love his hair. So to me, all I could think of backstage is that the girls have their little clique of who do you think's the cutest on the roster, right? And who should think that they're the cutest on the roster?
Jungle Boy?
Nope. Jungle Boy's babyface. He's not vain.
Oh,
MJF.
Nope. He could be in the conversation, but even better, the sex god. What's his name? Spanish god.
Sammy.
Sammy Guevara. Yeah.
Sammy overhears the girls talking, and they all the girls like Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy's not going to sell for it except for, oh, thanks, girls. That's sweet. I appreciate that. And they're trying to, his hair is the cutest, and who has the best butt. And somebody brings up Sammy, and he's like, yeah. But then they're like, but Jungle Boy, and then all the girls like, oh, Jungle Boy, like driving Sammy crazy, right? The fact that he's not the top sexiest one in the girl's eyes when he thinks he should be, and Jungle Boy just is because he is what he is. And then that's why Jane liked Tarzan. And, and from there we could have a good singles feud with 2 small guys who can do a lot of stuff with storyline with the girls backing it up. And we could have some fun vignettes where we're not wasting time in the ring and we're following that blueprint roadmap of let's do more character and pay it off in a quicker thing. We get the girls stuff, we get Sammy stuff, we get Jungle Boy and Lucha stuff, some better things that way instead of wrestle.
What are the zip codes? What are the zip codes out in the Florida area, Silvio?
Usually start with 3-3.
So you could just turn.
That's 3-3.
So I mean, what you could do is you could just cut Jungle Boy's hair, and we could reboot Jacksonville 33110, just like Beverly Hills with him as the new guy, new lead.
I could see it.
Sorry, long way around with that joke. Sorry.
Terrible. I like that booking approach with him and Sammy. I think that could be a good angle. Just as long as I still get my my wrestling in, because I stand by FTR was fucking badass last night.
Well, let's get into the next match, guys, here to move things along. So we've got a singles action here. This is actually my favorite match of the night. It was Kenny Omega out for commentary to watch Hangman Page take on Kaz. So you already knew you're getting a 20-year veteran with Kaz. You're working with a young guy like Hangman Page, who's been, looked really good in this singles action before he even started this tag team run with Kenny Omega. The guys, this is what I wrote down. They locked up to start up, made a clean break in the corner, and then Kaz got some offenses. But basically, the first match belonged to Page. Hangman Page was doing some different moves that were kind of synonymous with his move package. And then Kazarian made a comeback. They traded big lefts and rights, and then they were countering each other near at the end. And then after a lengthy exchange, Page hit the buckshot lariat for the win. So the winner in this match was Hangman Page. What do you think of this match, Ben Hamin?
I like this match. I don't think we needed Omega in here in the storyline to play babyface and push it forward, because it was kind of distracting because I was waiting for the stand up for some interference or something to happen, And I just wanted to see a really great match between two guys who I know are top tier wrestlers, like you said. That this should have been just the go back and forth 50-50, but we wasted a lot of that in the match before this, in my opinion. They're both awesome. Yeah, I like the match, but I think the Kenny Omega stuff is the business, but it wasn't really clear to me, and it kind of is blase blah to me. You know what I mean?
It is weird. Silvio, what did you think?
Man, I can't say enough good things about Frankie Kazarian. My God, is he good. I'd like to see them pump Kazarian with some more wins and keep him at that level where he's still credible, to where he can still put guys over but be a believable threat to a title. His pacing and his fundamentals are just so good. He's been on a hot streak. What I liked about that match is we were starting to see the old cowboy coming back a little. When you look in Page's eyes after he would hit certain offense, he had that smirk, that confidence back to him. So I was digging it. Kaz did that really cool guillotine leg drop when Hangman was hung on the ropes. Real cool spot from the corner where he got pulled. He pulled Kaz's leg up into offense. Page did some impressive shit. Then I really liked how they worked into the finish for the buckshot. So I was thinking, man, maybe we're getting rid of Sad Cowboy and Badass is coming back. Then we saw a little bit of tease at the end, like, is he still sad? So great match. I do want to see them promptly start switching directions, though, and get out of the Sad Cowboy thing and get back to beer drinking and kicking ass.
You think so? I was just about to ask you about that, because the beer drinking thing, the liquor, it works and it doesn't work. I've seen it. I wanted to get your opinion on this. So obviously Stone Cold, the Sandman, Beer Money got it over, right? But the extreme alcoholism that I've seen in other angles, I've seen it in the indies where they try to do it with Colin Delaney, and it didn't really work. We got it over to some degree, but it never really gets the guy to where you want them to go. And we did the same thing here with Page. We had the Bucks through the alcohol on them, and now the Bucks are healed, but like whatever. And like all that stuff's kind of dropped. He whipped the glass at the broken mirror, and now we're going to get broken Page. And then this week we don't get any of the alcoholism, and I think they've dropped it and moved on. Maybe he'll do a Austin beer bash type stuff, but that being his mainstay of give me some Jack Daniels, you know what I mean, and we're going to do that. I think that might be dropped. And I've played around with this angle once or twice, and unless it's a beer bash type thing that you're going to stick to, like I got a brewski, right? Then it defines them, then it's really a tough path creatively to take them on there, unless you're going to go through the whole there's a tear in my beer and I'm crying for you, dear, all the way down to alcoholism, all the way through rehab, come back, reborn again. Like, that's a long way to get to something that never really elevates somebody to the highest level. It's a long story, but in the case of Jeff Hardy, I don't think it's added to his, mythos. It's only taken down his legacy a little bit. Your opinion on the alcohol abuse rehab storyline type stuff?
Yeah, man. Yet again, we see another parallel to WCW when they had the Scott Hall angle of Hall showing up on TV drunk and putting over the alcoholism. For Page, what I think it just needs to be a small part of the kind of person that he is. I think we need to go more in the badass cowboy route.
Right. Man's man, a cowboy's going to have a shot of whiskey now and then, but he's going to throw a punch too.
Right. But I don't think he needs to be a drunk or have his gimmick be alcohol. Like, think of APA, how much they got over, in the late 90s, early 2000s. When we saw them backstage, they had cigars in their mouths and they were drinking beer. But their gimmick was not that they are smokers and drinkers. Their gimmick was they're badass ass kickers who would probably be seen with a cigar and a beer on their free time. So that's the kind of route I feel like would be productive for Page to go into.
This segment brought to you by Lickerman's whiskey. If you're in Canada, get the Lickerman's. It's the best you can get. Sexy and approved.
Yep.
Well, no one's going to be smoking a cigar on. No one's going to be smoking a cigar on AEW television, because that might make somebody upset, because smoking's bad for you.
Smoking you want the smoke, you get cancer. That was Shinsuke's line this week. And then at the top of the hour, they went to the kids cancer segment philanthropy thing, WWE sponsored. Good work, everybody.
All right.
Well, after that, we had MJF in action. Silvio, was this one of your guys that he fought?
It was not.
It was not. Okay, so this is a local competitor, I guess. I'm from the area. I'm not sure. I think they said his last name was Zane. I defeated him in like less than 10, 15 seconds. Took him down, salt to earth, submission, done. Grabbed a mic. I mean, then this is what the business was done. So, and he went after Wardlow after he threw his opponent in the ring. MJF said he is an honest man, and Moxley cheated during their match at All Out. He said, moving forward, people need to call him the uncrowned, undisputed AEW champion. And he forced John Roberts to announce him by his new title. He also teases that apparently everyone's joining cliques, which I like this, kind of calling out the backstage people, huh? And says, looks like I might join a clique. Maybe I won't join a clique, but just know that I'm better than you, and you know it. What'd you think of this, Silvio?
I thought it was really strong, man. The things I liked about it on the TNT version, MJF came out during picture-in-picture and made a production going around the ring, telling the boys on the ground to kiss his ring. Showed a lot of character in that and kept me engaged during the break. Then I didn't see that coming. Obviously, we knew MJF was going over, but I didn't expect it to be in 5 seconds. Then he delivered a very high-level promo after that, teasing the faction stuff. He had some new gear that I liked. It looks like he's in better shape.
Dude, why didn't he draw the ref there and fucking let Wardlow kill him, and then he comes over and just straps something on him? I don't understand why he did it like that.
I think they're just trying to make him as strong as possible. One of the things I feel like they have done right to an extent with MJF is to keep that win streak to him. He's had 1 loss. So in the world of AEW, somebody like that instantly becomes credible for any match. So I liked it.
Okay.
Just before, I also want to clarify, apologies. It was undefeated, uncrowned, undisputed AEW.
That's right. Get it right.
I forgot the undefeated part. Do you have any other thoughts, Ben, before we move on?
What was this seg? Sorry again, I blanked out.
MJF.
No, that was fine. I was like, Wardlow looked like $1 million. If you're going over in a quick finish, MJF needs heat. He doesn't need to look strong. He gets over with his words. So that should have been whatever. He should have drawn him with Wardlow in the ring. Wardlow tattoos the kid one time enough to get him reeling. Come back off the ropes. MJF could have got him in the crossface right there and hooked it in. But we got this big bruiser bastard there. Use him. Use him in a deceptive heel way to get over on your guys. And then people go, he can't be beat without Wardlow. Then what do? You ban Wardlow from ringside or what have you. And then it's these little wrestling stakes that we could be doing, these games that get left out of these scenes. I watch them. I'm like, dude, you're getting 30, 40%. You know, MJF's going to get over regardless. Get that big cocksucker over. And they walked around and intimidated people the whole time. And then one of Billy Gunn's kids almost blew their heat by trying to go into business for himself before he got in the ring and bowing up on him. So the fact is, Wardlow, they need to walk around intimidating like bullies, but then we got to see him bully somebody and get over on somebody. That's his spot. Like that's the game they should be playing out, man. So MJF doesn't need to be a great on the mic and an awesome wrestler. He can be an opportunistic heel. Just letting Wardlow do that doesn't make him a chicken shit. It just makes him calculating and more like, haha, I can get away with something.
What about this? I mean, you remember right after the pay-per-view where they teased dissension with Wardlow and MJF dressed him down and told him to play ball, all that shit. So what if post-match MJF calls Wardlow in and is instructing a beatdown on this kid? And MJF does something like tells Wardlow to take off his belt and hold the guy so MJF could whip him.
Sure.
And we show that conflict in Wardlow that he doesn't quite want to do it. MJF's going too far, but he's got to take the money. You know, then we could further that story and get that heat on MJF.
I like that too. that post match, because that's the moment. That's now we got business that's setting off in there where he's got to make a choice, but he knows we see that there's conflict in him, and that's our Star Wars stuff. Can you bring it back out of Darth Vader? I know there's good in you, and we want to see that redemption in our characters as part of our human nature, don't we? We want to be redeemed for the bad that we've done and be told that we're good little boys and girls, even though our path to fame was through evil and doubtful means. I like it. So I think definitely that could work.
I agree.
Yeah, man.
Well, before we move on, of course, we just want to let you guys know we're sponsored by thebrosers.com. Get yourself a bag of Brosers coffee, as well as Zordo's olive oil. Get yourself the finest artisan olive oil. I talked to Triple D. I think he said he's either recording yesterday or this weekend. So look out. Triple D's Star Trek podcast episode 3 in the works coming. As well as a brand new episode of the New Force Order is up right now with Impact X Division champion Rohit Raju, returning guest. So check that out, guys, on hackerhamin.podbean.com, as well as, of course, Stevie Richards Fitness, ProWrestlingTees.com. Stevie Richards Fitness just came out with some new yoga videos. They're either like the $9.99 for one or $30 for all three or something like that. And he also sends you other free stuff, the chair workout. When I move next week and I'm not broke, I will be getting the yoga videos. So you should be getting the yoga videos too to add to your Stevie Richards Fitness. And of course, go to ProWrestlingTees.com and look up Ben Hamin, Great God Papa Down, Stevie Richards, SEG shirts, and coming soon, Chris Silvio and Light the Fuse shirts, apparently, because Silvio was breaking up earlier. You said something about a graphic for Light the Fuse shirts, Silvio?
Yes, so the graphic is going to be in the Light the Fuse font, but it's going to say MSG is DTF.
I like that.
Great. Okay, they'll sell.
Get on it, listeners. Send me a prototype.
Cousin Marky Mark, if you're listening, send us that prototype. I have to check the Gmails here. Maybe there's an email from Cousin Marky Mark.
Oh, I'm
Have
sure.
you seen the new dirty turnbuckle stuff now? Like we've gone from the big head horseman stuff, which was super funny, but now we're doing deep fakes. He put GGP on 9 last night. He put me on Vince as Vince. Super scary, bro. Like,
bro.
Real.
Okay, so he did it. I was gonna bring this up last week on the Impact Attack when I was like, you know what you should do? You should do. And I went, nah, I don't want to do that because I don't want the listeners to do it. And then somebody did it. I didn't have to say it.
Dirty Turnbuckle, add Dirty Turnbuckle on Twitter. Go give him a follow and just see some of these fucking gifts that he puts out, man, of horsemen. That's crazy. Oh, hold on, there's a girl with a big ass, but.
Hey, Matt, I think we missed something a little bit earlier. I wanted to get your guys' take on this. We had a VTR with Jericho and Hager over the top of
over
Matt Hardy.
He's holding the bat, and then you got
well, that was next. That's right next. I was coming right up with that, actually. But go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was
and take.
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
had
say
that right after Revival's match.
Okay. I was just gonna put it together here with the private party so we could like group it together. I'm sorry to move the show along. So we're up next was gonna be private party, Chris Jericho and Jake Hager. But prior to that in the show, yes, as you mentioned, private party finds Matt Hardy backstage. He's holding what looks like his knee or his leg. Jericho and Hager then come in and they're like, "Oh, Matt Hardy, are you okay? Is he okay?" And then they kind of made fun of him for being beat up, and it looks like Jericho did it with the bat, but it's never revealed who it was, and thus now private party does not have Matt Hardy out there with them for this tag team match against Chris Jericho and Jake Hager. Now, if you'd like to go ahead and speak on that, gentlemen, definitely go ahead.
I want to hear Hamin's take first.
On him standing over him, I think this is smart business to have Matt Hardy on your show and empathy to keep him on camera. Maybe not smart business if he's actually concussed and should be home, not being on the road. But it's all insinuated violence. We didn't need to see it. In our mind, we saw Jericho hit him with the bat, and it keeps Matt on there empathetically. I don't know if the kids needed to be there, the house party dudes. It could have just been Hager and him over. That would have been more heat because they probably should have laid out the house party kids too as they stood there in a kind of an awkward scene standing over them. So they killed their own heat by having them there unless they were going to beat the shit out of them too. What would have worked is to do it with the kids standing there. They leave the scene and walk by them. The kids start checking on Matt. Then they run back in and fuck the kids over too. So you get to see the violence, and we don't have to do anything to Matt to make him in a situation where he could be hurt. That's already in our minds. Those kids, they could have actually gotten some heat on and finished out the scene that way. Instead, we left it at 30%.
Yeah, man, it had an oddness to it, like one of those vignettes on Raw that often gets criticized. It kind of had that WWE Raw kind of thing. Yeah.
Stand in a semicircle scene is one of the hardest things to break improvisers out of. I was guilty of it for 2-3 years. You just in an acting scene or improv scene, you just lend yourself to that, especially if you're in front of the camera to set it up in the shot. But that's not how we really interact and stand around each other. So that needs to be better directed. Absolutely. And I don't put it on the house party kids or anything at all. And Jericho has been in WWE for 20 years. So he's muscle memory to do that. Same with Hager, you know what I mean? So, but it needed to be more real.
The only thing high level that I took from that was the possibility that Matt was faking it and we have an imminent heel turn coming.
Interesting.
Because we never saw the attack.
Could be. Right. Could be. I think it was just a way to keep him on the show and protect him. And I thought it was a smart way to do it. The rest of the scene just could have got played out better.
Oh, yeah.
So this match starts off with Hager and I believe it was Mark Quinn. And they tried to, I guess, sell the fact that Quinn was a lot faster than Hager. And as well as Isaiah Kennedy was as well. Then Y2J gets in. He takes control of the match. Hager and Jericho pretty much had control for most of the match near the high flyers. They were doing their high flying moves. Got a hot tag, if you will, or looked like an attempt at a hot tag. Ted the Man Beast will be the judge of that, and you can send over that submission. Quinn took down Jericho and Hager with some quick maneuvers, and then after getting the win with the Judas effect, Jericho kept attacking Cassidy, locked him in the walls of Jericho, and then Quinn made the save, but the damage had already been done on that match. So winner of this match was what I'm calling Team Jaeger, a little bit of the Jaeger, or Jaeger, a little bit of the Jaeger.
Okay. Well, and that's kind of funny to say that because Silvio, what was his finisher in OVW?
Something like the Jaeger bomb or something.
Close. It was Hagermeister because he was Hagermeister, so the Hagermeister was his fucking finish. Yeah, man. Jake Hager's a fucking star, bro. To even have him in a tag with Jericho lessens both of them. They're gonna do good stuff together. There's no doubt about it because they're both super pros, and obviously Hager's an incredible amateur athlete as well. And Jericho too could have gone pro hockey, no doubt. That all of that combined is going to be good TV in those segments. But we're not getting full value out of either of these guys. Hager should be on top going after Moxley right now. He should be in that. He should be in that conversation,
right?
Not doing this.
Right. And then it should be Jericho, leading him to that promised land, right? And then eventually turning on Hager and then setting up that build.
And Hager's a big baby face. Exactly.
Right.
You got it.
Thank you. All right, cool. Well, after that, did you want to talk about the match, Silvio? Would you like about the match? Did highs, lows?
I was very high on this match as well. I was super impressed with Hager. He was on fire. He looked like an animal. Jericho was working hard. He took some big bumps. He took a run off the top rope. This was the best private party match I've seen in AEW, and I thought the heels went to great lengths to make sure private party looked good, but not expose them for, like, you saw as few holes in private party's game during this match than we ever have. Some of the small details that you learn with experience, Hager and Jericho were just able to fill that in. So I thought they did a good job. I'm digging the dynamic of those two. And it's like there's only room for so many people at the top. So Jericho has done those two angles. So it seems like now they're, they take tag team wrestling seriously in AEW. So maybe this is another way for him to kind of stay around the main event angle and the title picture, but leave other guys a chance to do things with the belt.
Hey, Silvio, based on the conclusion of this match, do you think this is going to be the beginning of a feud between these two teams?
Could be. I don't know. I'm still suspect about the Matt Hardy interaction. I think we're going to get some details on that later. But I do think they should push Jericho and Hager towards the championships.
All right. did. Any final thoughts on that at all before we move on to the women's match?
I mean, the match is going to be as good as what it is. They have to go over strong and they feed these kids. At least they did it in quick fashion. So it was done right and business wise.
All right. Well, after that, we've got Thunder Rosa taking on Ivelisse for the NWA Women's Championship. Okay. First off, whoever photoshopped Thunder Rosa's NWA title, shame on you. It was a horrible Photoshop. It was like she was holding a little cardboard title in her hand in the picture. I was like, what are you doing? That's not good. That's not how you highlight the NWA champ. Shame on you, graphic guy. Do better. Anyway, that's my only gripe there. But the match has gotten some backlash from different parts of the fan base here, as a lot of people believed that there was a lot of stiff shots in this match, and there was a lot of parts where people weren't selling, especially Ivelisse from Thunder Rosa. They thought that some of the no selling or strong style didn't make Thunder Rosa look as strong as she should be, being the champion. Kuroshita, the AEW champion, was watching from the crowd. Rosa and Ivelisse started by trading arm drags, counters to establish their skills. They're kind of just trying to show each other what they got. Rosa then was hit with a couple series of moves, take control, and then she scored a 2-count pinfall attempt. And then as the match continued, both women started showing damage to each other. They didn't really slow down, as I mentioned, and it looked like they did enough to where they were like maybe hurting each other, a little stiff. And then Ivelisse failed to win with her finisher, which gave Rosa the opportunity to hit her tombstone pile driver for the win to retain the title. Silvio, have you seen any of the controversy or backlash on this match?
I have not, because I haven't been on the social media.
Gotcha.
But,
you mentioned Social Dilemma.
Yeah. I like the fact that both of them were physical with each other. So we had two performers out there that had some things in there that looked believable, which was a problem previous with the women's division. So I like this new direction now where they're presenting more credible matches. Ivelisse kind of works like an unconventional version of strong style. So I could see some of those critiques about the selling. Like, she doesn't really oversell big or over bump.
Or at all.
Yeah. So the one thing, though, that did drive me crazy during the match was Ivelisse's hair. She needs to do something with her hair. It kept getting in her face, and it wasn't like the wrestler flicked their hair back. She used her hands to move her hair like at least 50 times during the match.
Every time, dude. That was my number one note. Like, this Ivelisse is not good. Like, I don't care how long she's been in there and she knows where she is wrestling-wise. Like, hit her to the middle of the ropes. She sells down to the corner, waits, stands there for the next thing, waiting to get hit, drop to the ass, pull my hair out of my face, turn my head, pull my hair out of my face, turn my head. Here comes the bump. Take the bump, go forward, and then pull my hair out of my face again, dude. No. As a woman, that's part of your whole sell is your hair. Of how wild it is and how disheveled it is, and as you're crawling, it's in your face. Not, oh my God, I've got to look pretty right now, everybody. And like, dude, these spots, the slapping, the Japanese wrong style back and forth, no sells. It exposes again how, and again, these girls doing what Kenny Omega wants them to do, going 14 minutes. This match should have been 6 minutes bell to bell to protect them. They learned nothing from last week. They learned nothing from WWE or with Deeb, and now things are going to change. Deeb signed. She's going to go there, and these girls are going to have no choice but to actually learn how to work, pull the right amount of time, get yourself over and be safe, and learn how to sell, because they're amateurs, bro. You want to say all elite wrestling, and they're scrambling for girls who look good on camera, who are, wrestle like men. They want a Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega of women. It's not going to work, dude, especially when they're just going through the motions and they're doing hair flips and getting the hair out of their face. That's killing all believability, because all they have is wrestling. They don't have any storyline. The storyline at the end was Sheeta coming down to look at the belt, right? Like, oh, big deal, bro. Another thing about the belt of what it is. It's just really not good. Like, boom, let me sit here, and then I'll let you put that on me. no struggle whatsoever. So I'm not saying she's not in there on TV and she's been in this business for a while, but that's your Chicago, Illinois, Berwyn Eagles club, tape trader masturbators who just come out to see Shimmer and Shine, girls who have no fundamentals whatsoever on how to sell, do anything. And that's what you're putting on your TV calling elite. I can give you 5 girls off the top of my head who will out wrestle both of those girls that were in your ring tonight. And I've already helped to give you one that's going to actually save your company. So like the ridiculousness of they need to work a certain way and all this stuff. It's business exposing bad. And if somebody went to the back there and didn't pull them aside and said, we need to watch your match, and I really need to sit here and show you and tell you, because I want you to get better. I want you to be on here and do good. Look at how you're walking to here in the middle of the ropes, and then you just walk into there and getting ready. You need to stumble. You need to be all over. Don't touch your hair. Anytime you touch your hair, I'm going to fine you $10. How about that? You touched your hair 17 times in that match. Get it out of your face. $10 every time. And like, it's those little games that you got to play with them to break them. Otherwise, they're just going to keep on these bad behaviors and thinking that they're doing well. Meanwhile, your TV show, like people watching are going, ugh. That's what you want.
Some of the criticisms that I read online just
sorry, one thing right here. Tuttles is nailing it. I wasn't going to drop her name. Holidead. Holidead is also better than every other woman on your roster except for Serena Deeb. But there's a bunch of girls I can name that can work better, and I doubt Nevaeh's even on Impact contract. I would go pull her and bring her in, dude, and that's the quickest way to get Chris Brothers and Sami Callihan to jump ship too.
So some of the, I guess you might say, reaction was somebody said that they didn't appreciate the fact that she was sitting there. That GIF I showed that that she was sitting there while Thunder Rosa was trying to make the company look good and she's not selling anything. Oof. That was the first concern thing. But the other one was apparently, maybe I missed it, but I guess either Eva Lise maybe messed up or whatever it was, but maybe she slapped Thunder Rosa and then Thunder Rosa gave her a receipt with the little cheeky punch to the chin. Someone pointed that out online. So that's what I was seeing about the backlashes. Or yeah, so Thunder Rosa gave Eva Lise a little receipt for that slap with the cheeky punch to her chin. So I don't know what was going on there, but as you mentioned,
don't hit me for real and sell, and then I won't have to do that.
Maybe it's what she was getting frustrated. Who knows?
From what I know about Eva Lise, she is fiery and like she certainly will do things like that, like be snug in the ring. I'm very high on Thunder Rosa, and I thought we saw some good stuff in this match. There was some timing issues, but the main thing that really took me out of it was just that hair thing. Serena is the best thing right now to happen to that division of taking them to the next level. So I'm really eager to see what she can do and have people step up to the bat. And maybe if that's what it is, finding $10 for fucking flicking your hair, that's what it's going to take.
Yeah, I mean, if that's what it is, especially when you come back, because in her mind, she's going to go, fuck, there goes $40 in the first 2 minutes. But, that'll stop you from doing it.
Bro, she would have paid $1,000 or $1,500 this year.
I know. Well, then guess what? That'd be probably one of the only ways that AEW is going to generate any money right now because they're in the red every show that they put on.
Interestingly, do you guys think that based on Diamante attacking Rosa after the match, which allowing Cheetah to get involved, that they're going to build to some sort of the AEW Women's Cup champions taking on the AEW and NWA Women's Champion? Silvio, what do you think about that?
I think we're going to get a tag match out of it. I don't know if it'll be stakes like that, but yeah, it looks like they're set.
Well, I mean, like the championships were going to be on the line. I just meant those competitors, right? Because Diamante and Eva Lise for the AEW Women's Cup. Now they're going to be taking on the AEW and NWA Women's Champions.
Yeah, it would appear.
I don't know.
Hamin, I got a question for you, man. You've been very vocal about the women's division there. It dawned on me watching this show that what AEW tried to do a lot of times with the women's was kind of recreate what you see on the indies. So, for instance, there's a lot more room for error on the indies where the crowd is more forgiving. So, like, you can see things like the tampon spot and stuff like that. And, you don't necessarily have to have the most sound fundamentals. I think what they tried to do is bring like that element of women's wrestling on the indies and put it on national TV where it's under a microscope. So I think that's kind of where they went wrong. They were trying to do like the cutesy spots you would see on the indies, but with a roster full of world-class talent, it didn't do them any favors.
I see what you're saying, but I don't see that it's the cutesy spots. I see it's the fact that they want to wrestle like Osprey and Omega because that's who was running the division. You have girls who are nowhere near athletic enough to do that kind of stuff mixed with the SJW transsexual agenda and mixing that in, combined with let's bring in as many Asians as we can to like mix it in. That's going to be our flavor. All that word in a blender doesn't get you anything. It's not going to taste good at the end of the day. There's no vision there. There's no way to get anybody over. The only thing that got over is when Britt Baker got hurt and started doing character. And yet here we are still pulling 15-minute matches that are meaningless with a girl who's not even our champion because we need competent wrestlers. So we have to go outside of our own roster to get them. Where's Big Swole? Where's the push for them? Where's the storyline that we could be doing here, shaving 5 minutes off of that match to get our own girls over in what's going on? We're not getting that at all. Now the wrestling will come down to Serena, and each one she'll get the best match. You're going to go, you're going to say this a lot. That's the best match Big Swole ever had. That's the best match Sheeta ever had. That's the best match Evilise ever had. You're going to get used to saying that over, and there's going to be one continuum of why. And if they want to do that stuff, I'll tell her every week, don't do that spot shit that everybody else is doing. You go do what we know how to do, and you go show these girls how to get over safely, that they don't have to do that in X amount of time. And then we'll build something to make every one of them shine the right way, because they all should be shine the right way. Evilise, a beautiful girl, easy to see on camera, on talent. But when you put them out there to not be the best them, in which obviously her wrestling and selling needs a lot of help and believability of that she's being hurt in the ring, well, let's start small there instead of going 17 minutes to expose that. Now we all look bad, and it's twice as hard to get her back over. Is there money on Sheeta? Yeah, there was money on all these girls. Even I always want to call her Naya. What is transsexuals?
Nyla Rose.
Nyla Rose. Even there, we can tell great stories in there that will. What do we want from the transsexual stuff is the humanization of them, not the freak show side. So we need to have a story that supports that, where Nyla is not the beast, the destroyer, but the one who has the heart that comes to the rescue of somebody who is in that, the bully of the bullies. You know what I mean? Who's been bullied themselves and can understand it. Like we're just not setting our talent up to shine at their brightest, you know, and we really need to look at that. Of how we run this women's division, and trying to do all this spot shit has made 3 of our top talents end in injury and surgery. Let's take a note from ourselves to not do that kind of shit anymore. Yet here we are with 2 girls who 17 minutes is way too long, because that's what they got to do on the indies, and the indies are forgiving. The indies are filled with girls who should not be in the ring that these girls work. And now they should all be tightening it up and really saying, how do I get you over, me over, instead of I'm going to be snug and get a receipt and slap the shit out of you on TV and you didn't know it was coming. Okay. We're going to have a little conversation backstage after this match.
There you go.
You know.
So following this, we get Archer and Jake the Snake Roberts. They come out. I didn't like this segment because
this was terrible, bro. This was
really predictable. Like you kind of knew that they were gonna. Like I had this in the back of my mind. I'm like, watch, they're gonna put Cage with Archer tonight. When the story really should be Archer's this badass guy. Why doesn't he just pull the clowns from the audience?
Why would
put
he
them right there, or even have a knee tag partners?
Taz in the ring with him without killing him, bro. Yeah. Taz getting in the ring. I was done at that. Before anything else got said after that, I was done. These guys are at each other's throats, and they're the competitor of the manager with the biggest big man. And now they're trying to do a quick Sun Tzu quote, enemy of my enemy is my friend. And they botched that even, and to get it together, but I'm still pissed off, but we'll do that. Like, dude, no, it's about Murder Hawk going it alone and that is of the fuck you to them. And then the business is Cage attacking them to cost Murder Hawk because he didn't team up with them. And the business there further, not some let's string it together with Elmer's glue and fucking silly string trying to go, but brother, tonight, we remember you agreed in the back to the deal that'll get us both what we want because you want that and I want this now that we're on the same side, brother, right? Because we wanted that. Isn't that what the boss told us in the back to come out here and say that, to tie and fix the thing that we didn't get our heat together, brother? Because I'm in the ring with you right now and you're not killing me. So we must be on the same side, brother. Like, that kind of stuff is so bad, plotty, no show, don't tell, a Band-Aid on a broken leg for creative, of having a Jake Roberts and a Taz, two assassins on the mic, have to go out there and put over that plotty bullshit to like make a bridge between two bad storylines where one didn't pay off and now we're starting another one. And this is how we're going to Dukes of Hazzard jump that gap. Hang on, Bo and Luke. It's going to be a bumpy fucking ride.
I was just saying, from my perspective, it would have been more realistic if next week, he doesn't even need to have quote unquote tag partners. He can just pull two guys he's been throwing around the ring and just put them out there and shut up and stand there, and they don't even need to wrestle. That's your team, right? That's right. That's what I thought.
Nicholas is all elite. That's what I'm telling you.
I was just about to say that.
But in this segment, we do find out that Will Hobbs has signed a deal with All Elite. I did have this as a story. All Elite Wrestling has signed Will Hobbs. He's been working in the Bay Area for more than 10 years, trained at the All Pro Wrestling Boot Camp. He's been a standout on AEW Dark through the summer with matches against Orange Cassidy, the Dark Order, Ricky Starks, and Sean Spears. He was also in that 21 Casino Battle Royale where he clearly was one of the bigger guys in there before being eliminated by the Blade. And since then, he scored a pair of wins on over Sean Legacy and former TNA prospect Jesse Sorensen. So that's a little background there on Will Hobbs, as he's going to be one of the members of Mox's team as Mox selects Darby Allin and Will Hobbs. Silvio, what'd you think?
Jake was out again doing the sexy references. I'm not sure where that's going, and telling Taz to lay in bed with them. Like, there's a weird theme with that going on. But what jumped out at me was, this is something that happens fairly often on this show, is we had a similar segment. Like MJF's segment was a promo about a faction. This became a promo about a faction. So they kind of did the same business twice. The thing with Hobbs, I like Will Hobbs. I think he's got a good look and he's got a lot of potential. It just seemed like an odd introduction because just a couple weeks ago he had his first like competitive match on TV and he came out with like an 0-8 record. So he's gotten a few wins on Dark. So let's say now he's 3-8, for example. Aligning him in the main event now with Moxley and Darby kind of seems out of nowhere because they haven't given him any wins yet. So that's just struck me as a little odd. Nothing against Hobbs. I would use Hobbs. I would sign Hobbs. I'd make him a monster. But it seemed like they just kind of rushed into inserting him in a main event angle.
Where was
losing 8 times?
Was Darby even on this show?
No, he was not. He was at home.
He's still reeling from the body bag.
He was at home.
He was still reeling from being thrown in a body bag. So that was that segment. This is setting up for next week's team.
Would you have Darby wake up in the bottom of a funeral home with like other dead bodies around, and he like unzips out of the fucking thing and like escapes out of the morgue that way? I think that would be a fucking cool. Like that could have been a cool scene on this show, right? Like that quick.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Whatever. What do I know?
After that, we've got the Best Friends taking on Proud and Powerful. Now, this got some good press for them, if you will, as from a production standpoint, Silvio, as Tony Khan revealed that the parking lot brawl was actually one take, and Mick Foley even praised this match. One of the David Spickenspan, he pointed out that he said this match was in multiple. He asks, was this match in multiple takes or not? Because all of the plunder spots they looked incredibly organic and they didn't feel overly set up. And Tony Khan says, yes, this was all shot in one take, no edits other than dropping the audio on the F word. And then Mick Foley even had some thoughts. He said that he thought it was really good as well. I don't want to go into what all Mick Foley said, but one take, it appears, for this parking lot brawl. So Santana and Ortiz showed up with their skull-like face paint for this matchup. And then all four men just kind of really just started brawling all over. Trent put Ortiz under the hood of a car, slammed it on top of him several times. It set up a piece of plywood across the bed of the truck, but Ortiz found his signature baton and he used it to take out both men. He had a slingshot and sent Trent's face into a tailgate. Nobody really had the upper hand.
Like a motherfucker, dude. Like that tailgate's not light, and it came up like he protected himself. That's a dangerous spot. When they said one take, if that's no bullshit, that was one take. That's a spot where I'd have been like, cut, let's set this up, practice it slow real quick. Okay, you're good. All right, let's roll it. Like that if they did that with no cuts right there, that was and through the windshield too, when he bombs through the windshield, all those little shards of glass he's got in his back today. He had no idea when he left that it was going to be like that from that bomb that he took.
So to finish up here, there was blood, bodies, broken property before Orange Cassidy emerges from the trunk of a car and hits a punch to Santana with a chain wrapped around his fist. And it concludes with Chuck Taylor hitting Santana with a pile driver on the car while Trent put Ortiz through a piece of plywood to get the pin and the win. And then Sue, which I guess is the mom's name, arrived with a prepared van to give the winners a ride home. And then she flipped off. Powerful. Now it would have been more punched up, I think, if she had had juice boxes waiting for them or something like that, or a hot towel or something like that. I don't know, but it was a good little ending there. I liked that. Silvio, what did you think?
Man, I thought it was brutal, but very well done. That's one of the ace in the holes that AEW has that WWE cannot touch. They can do this level of violence right now, and they seem to be getting away with it. Not that every match has to be like that, but that's something that could really make them stand apart. The match was brutal. Like the Trent glass spot, I'm thinking for sure it's like that sugar glass that they use in wrestling. Then I see him coming up with his back all cut. So I was like,
no,
shit.
you fucking Kutsky, bro.
Yeah, dude. And that spot with Ortiz in the hood of the car when they were jumping onto it, I mean, that had to hurt. I'm just thinking of a way to fake that. You fucking can't. When they did the deal with Trent going through the door, Jenna says that she saw Trent gigging his own arm, which is ironic because a few minutes later his back would be bleeding from shards of glass.
Say this: they did listen to us. What's really the high spot of the match going into the finish?
Cassidy
out of the trunk, out of nowhere, one and done. It meant everything. It was the surprise of the match. If we get away from this bullshit mimosa 20 minutes shit where he's wrestling and exposed and doing all that stuff, it spots exactly like that, dude. Imagine if we never had all these matches against Pac and all that, and he'd just been doing this that whole time, bro. Right. These guys would have meant so much more as real best friends. And then that spot would have been, it was still everything. It would have been 10 times more in this match just from that alone. Easy paycheck. Oh, so good, dude. And people would love him. And people would really possibly be talking about him by this time. You got to watch the show. Once a show, this guy shows up. You don't know where he's going to be. He's only on camera for it's some Where's Waldo shit. But when he's on the show, it's the most perfect thing at the perfect time. We blew that game. Can we get back to it? Possibly to some degree. This was maybe the first step. Now, next week, you'll have a 15-minute get-over match against Jungle Boy or whatever.
I like the sledgehammer shot that Ortiz gave to Chuck T, too. It looked real the way it was shot. It popped me. I was like, good shot. It looked like it was real. I like that.
Yeah. The one things that I would want to see, though, in character-wise, I love the shit with Sue at the end with the fucking middle finger. So good. Like, those shots are, I mean, that's everything, right? Like, Sue's established. But I want Sue to have to roll up and yell at them like a mom, like, your father's coming in from the airport. Let's go. Get in the van. I got to pick your sister up from ballet. Fuck, come on. She's not putting shit over. And then it's something after fuck you guys too. Sue's always on the move. She seemed a little soft here. You know what I mean? I want Sue to have some edge to her. She ain't fucking around, man. Come on.
We got soccer practice at 3, ballet at 4, and we got to hit this at 5.
We got to get these plants to the church. Any of that shit.
I love that they kind of capped it off. I mean, almost like we discussed a few weeks back of capping it off with Sue doing something. Only thing I didn't like about the finish, I love the timing of Cassidy's involvement. The only thing I didn't like is what he did. I didn't like the fact that the baby faces had to essentially cheat to win, to take 3-on-2 odds. What I would have liked to have seen instead is let's recreate that pipe scene. Cassidy pops out like he does, but Santana has his back turned. Orange pulls the pipe away at the last second. He then turns into Trent. So Trent delivers the blow, and Cassidy's disarming him. Or we throw Sammy or another member of the Inner Circle comes in at that moment, so it's 3-on-2. Then Orange comes out as retribution and knocks Sammy out. Then it goes into whatever. Only thing I didn't like that is really they cheated. It was 3-on-2 against. It took 3 of them to beat Santana and Ortiz. But otherwise, I really love the match and segment. Am I off the mark on
those? I booked those weird finishes in my mind too. I was like, where else could we go here if we wanted to? I was with you because the heat isn't on the guys it should be who are getting gigged up in there. The payoff isn't. It's really on Orange. But what if he came out, threw one of the LAX guys in the trunk, just shut the trunk on him? The other dudes in there behind him, they all close in. That's where we come in and do the hug around the dude while he's in the middle and he can't get away from it or something. They back up. Everybody super kicks him. He fucking drops. And they do a dog pile pin to fucking do a comedy. That's a little too waka waka. I liked the violence through the fucking plywood. I also pop big for fucking Shivani. Is that half-inch plywood? I don't know, Tim. Jesus, you tell me, Tim the Tool Man. And then he comes back. He calls him Tony the Tool Man later. I fucking popped those little things on commentary. There were some good gems in there, man.
Oh yeah.
This was a good main event, gimmick main event. And I was happy for the best friends, guys who have been in and out of the picture and hot and cold. And is it going to be Trent? Is it going to be Orange? Is it going to be whatever? This match worked together to use them all. Things like, and it's LAX's call, coming out in Dead President's makeup. For those kids who don't know at home, Dead Presidents was a movie that came out in 1995 about returning Vietnam black veterans who then did an armed robbery gimmick in the hood. So we're making references that are 25 years old to movies. Did it look cool? Sure. But to hear JR, well, wearing the Dead President's makeup tonight, or what the fuck? Like he's gonna know. There's things like that we just don't need, but I appreciate them.
I like the LAX that we saw. That level of violence and intensity. That's what I want to see every week. No more haha. Have them be those badasses. Everything looked real, and it was fucking awesome.
So I do have a couple more things here to end the show here. I've got one more story on AEW and an email here. And this pertains, as far as the story pertains to the content promotion for 2 shows next week. So next week, AEW Dynamite is going to have 2 Dynamite episodes. There's going to be, ding dong. There, Vince Russo drops in the background. I'm waiting for then Vince Russo's drop. People know me as the jack-off of Greensboro. Reese Mitchell, anyway. So next week, fans will be treated to a double dose of All Elite Wrestling. In addition to the promotion's normal time slot on Wednesday night, a special late night Dynamite is scheduled to air next Tuesday. So there's going to be Tuesday night and Wednesday night, 1-hour show on Tuesday, immediately following the NBA basketball game. The show is set to air 1 hour and will feature 3 matches with former AEW World Champion Chris Jericho on commentary. The matches are going to be Matt Sydal versus Sean Spears, which should be a fucking banger.
That'll be fucking sweet. I haven't seen that since 2008.
Scorpio Sky will be in action against the rising sensation Benjamin Carter, and the rivalry between Brandy Rhodes and Dark Order's Anna Jay will finally come to a head. Apparently, there's this big rivalry, so that's gonna happen next week. And then Silvio, I just want to let you guys know. I know you guys don't watch Being the Elite and being Ben Hamin, but we got the reason why Matt Sydal slipped on the turnbuckle last week. Michael Nakazawa, he was upset that he wasn't in the Battle Royale, so he oiled up the top rope of the turnbuckle. And it concluded in a comedy segment where Michael Nakazawa confronts him. He goes, "Hey man, I just want to wanted to talk to you about, you falling off the rope." And Seidel was really good in this scene. He goes, "Oh no, man, it's okay. It's wrestling. It happens. I know the risks when I take them." And then Michael Nakazawa goes, No. I legitimately was trying to hurt you to try to cause you pain." And then he's like with this, and he shows him the oil. And then all of a sudden Seidel's switch goes off. He goes, "What? You were trying to actually hurt me? What kind of person are you?" And then it does the whole run gimmick, and then Nakazawa runs away as Seidel chases him. So,
okay,
but that wasn't paid off this week. I would have liked to have seen Matt Seidel versus Michael Nakazawa, and then that would at least have tied in something. But
with Seidel at ringside, it looked like his body, but he had a big bushy beard. I wasn't sure if it was him or not.
No, I don't believe he was.
Oh, he wasn't? Okay.
But I love how they kept that on being the elite. That was freaking awesome. It was a nice touch.
Well, I'm just saying, you guys, if you need it, Seidel, we got Silvio. He's ready to throw down. We'll send him in and take out Nakazawa. He can tie-dye all his clothes.
Silvio's not ready to throw down. He's concussed as fuck.
Well, that's why I was going with gimmicks. If you would let me finish, I was going to say he could tie-dye his clothes, fill his shoes up with worms or something. He could be the prankster that no one even knows it's there.
I'm Silvio. Icy hot in that motherfucker's oil.
Oh, he's got
Exactly. Well, last thing here, we got an email from our resident cousin Marky Mark. Hello, gentlemen. I went back and watched some episodes of Dark and noticed that on the August 4th episode, Will Hobbs had a record of 0-4. 2 weeks later, on August 18th, his record was 0-3. So it turns out dark matches aren't always shown in their order of their production, or the production itself isn't paying attention to what they're actually showcasing. Good call out. It's also interesting that how they manipulate wins and losses, as they talked about on one episode how Hobbs was on an 8-match losing streak, but 3 of those were tags. So he's only shown as 2-5 now, with his most 2 being singles wins. As far as this week's episode, he said, "I'd like the push for Hobbs, and the street fight was great. Seems like they're taking Hamin's advice, as Brian Cage hasn't worn a shirt on TV since you guys talked about it on your show." He says, "I was thinking about your discussion about Nyla Rose and Sonny Kiss and the confusion and awkwardness of discussing it. I think the biggest issue is that AEW hasn't addressed it or discussed it with the fans. So the fans itself don't know how to feel about them, thus in turn don't know how to explain it itself to other people." His question for this week is, what are your thoughts on AEW promoting a match between Archer and Mox in a month's time, but having them fight next week in a 6-man? For me, this ruins the hype of their title match, as they have already touched before their big match itself. Thank you, cousin Marky Mark. Silvio, do you think Archer and Mox should be fighting before the pay-per-view?
Man, it's kind of an overdone tactic that's been around for a while now, where you have them face off against each other in some kind of multi-man. Personally, I'm not big on it, but it's a common booking thing. I'd rather not see that.
Ben?
No, why are you giving away the finish and the payoff of what people want to see beforehand? Heel can get heat on the babyface and cost them, but the babyface shouldn't be getting clean strikes on the heel until it's time to really get that retribution. We want to build it up and take it away, so they want it. That's the whole fucking purpose of being a babyface and being a heel and having heat, is to pay it off. So even if you pay off 10% of it, whatever they think it is, you've lost the real payoff of what you want to do. If they want to have them in the match together and tease it and take it away, where Moxley's trying to get his hands on him and he's laughing because he doesn't have to tag in and those things, and Moxley never gets it, and that's frustrated in a head game to fuck with them, then that I'm all for. But if they're in the ring together and squaring off and they even touch one time, we're fucked. And there's a 95% chance that's exactly what's going to happen.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's another edition of your AEW review on Light the Fuse here, your September 17th edition, right here on twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horseman. We were also live today on Hamin Media Group, Switch Up September, and on Ben Hamin's YouTube. So 3 different places live. If you didn't watch this live, you have no excuse. But you can also listen to it, hopefully, here on hackerhamin.podme.com. We appreciate it.
And on all numbers going up on iTunes, I switched some things around to the sports podcast based off of some work Silvio was doing and Matt were doing, and we're just trying to get our analytics right to play the fucking game against the AI. So every time you guys like and share something on the Hamin Media Group YouTube or Ben Hamin channel or anything along those lines, guys, it's pushing us up in the rankings. There's no doubt about that. And just trying to make sure that we can get the best wrestling content, conspiracy, truth seeking, reviews of, all types of different shows, whatever you're into, out, and keep building this stuff up. And the numbers have gone up. So we wanted to say thank you for that.
Well, and to bring that back full circle to the social dilemma conversation, don't let the algorithm choose for you what you want to watch. Build your algorithm with Hamin Media Group. Get independent news and artists, not just us, but from different people. Build your own algorithm on content from both different sides, different varying opinions, and things you enjoy as well. But certainly, guys, we appreciate you. I'll stooge this off because I was talking about it online. We're one of the top 30 wrestling podcasts in the United States, and actually, based on all the demographics, pretty much the world, guys. And that's because of you constantly subscribing, listening, and sharing. So we appreciate that.
Top
guys.
30 in rank, really, we're probably the top 1 and 2, to be honest with you.
Well, true.
Brand. What K1 between us, K100 and Russo brand, those are the top podcasts. Jericho, he does what he wants to when he needs to release it, and so does Dogs of War going off.
Grilling JR, Conrad, right?
But they're not on a regular schedule. You're talking all the time, around the clock, covering everything, guys. That's the top 3. Hamin Media Group, Russo brand, and K100. There's no other place you need to be unless you want to go over and visit Cornette's wife. Feel free.
Or, like I said, if you're listening to Grilling JR, I do like listening to JR's podcast.
Yeah, of course you love JR stuff too, man.
He's great. Guys, don't forget to check out our sponsors, brosters.com, StevieRichardsFitness.com, as well as ZordosOliveOil.com, Pro Wrestling Tees, and check out some of our brand new podcasts that have just dropped. New episode of Suck My Balls, a South Park review, is now up on my YouTube. Suck My Balls, South Park review, as well as everywhere, iTunes, and on Hamin Media Group and RantSolidReview.com. Brand new episode of the New Force Order podcast up, as I mentioned, with Impact Wrestling Heavyweight X Division Champion Rohit Raju, as they talk about the Mandalorian Season 2 trailer and a big reveal that Daisy Ridley was just making a movie up on the fly. Definitely gives you an idea of what they were doing for that third trilogy to end off the series. So check that out, guys. And next week, hopefully I will be here for the Impact Attack. I will be, hopefully, there shouldn't be any issues getting internet on day 1. But if not, I will definitely be here live and direct next week in Denver, Colorado for Light the Fuse. Silvio?
Sorry about the technical difficulties today, boys and listeners out there. Hurricane Helms attacked Florida, but we made it through it. Awesome edition of Dynamite. I thought it was an excellent show all around. As for myself, I'm at the Chris Silvio on the social medias, which I won't be checking that often, but I'll keep up with you guys. Training over at the Side Dojo in Florida. I'm getting very packed for my classes. So I have maybe 4 or 5 openings in the near future. So if you want to get the best training going right now, contact us to get in the door. My online classes right now have about a 6-week waiting list. So if you want to reach out to Superstar Seminars, Chris Silvio Superstar Seminars on Facebook, and have your name applied to that waiting list, I will put you in the order in which it was received. But I'm glad I got to chat some wrestling with my boys today.
One more thing I want to put over Ben as well, guys. One of Silvio's students and one of our correspondents here on Cage Theory, Bulletproof Blake Troop, is also the one of the lead commentators for David Marquez's United Wrestling Federation in association with NWA Primetime. That is now live on the Fight TV. So go check that out and support them, and Bulletproof Blake Troop as well.
And congrats on that gig, Blake. He's been working hard. He's got a lot of character. I hope the best for that show.
Yeah, killing it on Cage Theory, absolutely. As we also thinking about John Hartnett in the corner of Colby Covington this weekend at UFC. We'll be watching that, covering all that as well, you guys. Yeah, I'm super pumped to be back here with El Sexico, Chris Silvio. Even though we're having a little issues, the audio should be more than fine. Hopefully MSG can get some sleep before he's got to head to the mountains of Bush and do his thing there. And, you know, it's Hacker. I mean, it's nonstop. Who knows when Braun's going to stick his head up. Go subscribe to Russo brand. Master Shoot, we killed it this week. A lot of fun everywhere, man. We're just nonstop around the clock. What's today? Thursday. No wrestling tonight, but I'll be back tomorrow night with your SmackDown Live self-help group watch along, spinning all. Well, I don't know what I'm spending tomorrow night. We'll see. We'll have a good time and keep it live for your Friday night as we are in house arrest lockdown as things become more and more strange. Check out Friday morning, obviously the Friday locker room with Stevie Richards and I, but also the Conspiracy Horseman, huge episode. Richard Gage joining us as well. You guys, we appreciate you joining us on all your platforms, adding us and sharing us on everything, all the pro wrestling tiz, all the Zordiz, Oliviz, and everything else that we got going down here. Anything else, gentlemen?
You should, if I've given you a request, you should spin some Toots and My Tails. Rest in peace, Toots. Anyway.
All right. Rest in peace, Toots, as we light it up here. They said it wasn't. They said it was Plains Infidels, but from the whole time we went up on Ace Elevator, it was a controlled demolition to tear it all down here at Light the Fuse AEW Dynamite Review. Y'all.